Here with UW Lacrosse head football coach Mike Schmidt as we preview tomorrow's Saturday's game with UW River Falls. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock at Veterans Memorial Field Sports Complex, of course, Roger Herring Stadium. Coach, let's first, before we talk about the Falcons and last week's win over Platteville, special day tomorrow, Veterans Day, Senior Day. We'll honor our veterans like we've done for several years here, and we'll also honor our seniors. Just talk about what tomorrow means to you.
Yeah, it's really cool to have the tie-in with the Veterans Day, and it falls so early this year, where it has been so late, the last couple of years with 3 games in November and things like that. This year it's 2, and we're early, and we don't play a home game at the end of the year, so we're off a little bit on it, but that's pretty cool. I think that we get to be some of the first to do our Veterans Day honors and go through that, and then it makes it really special because Veterans Day being on a Sunday, then all of our guys can be around and back to help out with the Veterans Day breakfast that we have here, which is such a great event. So that's a really neat part that we have. Joe Arbanis is a player on our team. He's an Army veteran, is going to be our honorary captain for the game. Joe, unfortunately, had one of the nastiest broken legs, dislocation and broken leg that I've seen ever, in a practice actually here early in the year. So has missed the year and has decided to step away from football. But Joe's going to be our honorary captain today after being a veteran. That's going to be really cool on Saturday to have Joe out there. And then obviously Senior Day is a big day. It's important, obviously for all the obvious reasons, but it's really important to me personally because this is the last group of guys that didn't have to pick me as the head coach. That's pretty special. That it's a mix of about half of them are seniors that were here before I got here, and those guys went through a lot of stuff and didn't have to pick me as their head coach, and they bought in and stuck it out. And then the other half is a bunch of transfers that were somewhere else and saw what we were doing here and decided to come be a part of it, whether that was our first year or second year here. So, it's special to be a part of that. With this group and certainly feel like I owe them a lot.
UWL comes in 5-3, 3-2 in the conference. The Falcons are 3-5 and 2-3 in the WIC. Coach, let's talk about last week's win over Platteville. You got out to a lead. They came back. Your team showed some resiliency, came back, tied the game, took the lead late in the game on a touchdown pass, and then had a couple sacks there by Zachary Zilmer. Just talk about last week's win over Platteville. A very good team.
A really good team. I mean, there's a team that was ranked in the top 15 at one time this year, and boy, that's a big win for our football program. There's a team that has been established in the top 3 in our league for the last 10 years or so, and was a playoff team 2 years ago. And to beat them 2 years in a row is, boy, what a big deal that is. I think for our football program, certainly for us, it's a big deal. And that game, what a weird game. We jump out and it's 14-0, 45 seconds into the game. We not even a minute has passed. It's 14-0 after the big touchdown pass, and then obviously the block punt for a touchdown. Cole Speaker has 3 punt returns for touchdowns. They're all on block punts. That's crazy. That team's been so good. And then we go through the game, and Platteville just does a great job getting to the perimeter, throwing the ball, running the ball. All first half, we find ourselves tied at halftime and then trailing in the third quarter, and this team just continues to find ways to win. We won it differently than we'd won than the other ones, and in Illinois Wesleyan, we had a big lead in the second half and saw it diminish to only come back down and do a 2-minute drive, win on the last drive. Stout, we win in overtime after we had the lead and they came back. And then this one, we were the ones trailing and ended up coming back to get the drive and get the stop, and again, set up by our punt return team once again. Simonchek has a 26-yard return to set up the last touchdown to Trent Smith. Zilmer does a great job, has 3 consecutive plays actually where he has a sack on those plays. And so big win for our program, big win for our guys. And again, this young group of guys, I've been on a lot of teams where you find ways to lose those games. And right now we're finding ways to win them, and that's a sign of a pretty special team.
What do you think? Not to give secrets away, but what has been the difference on specialty in terms of that block punts? Like you said, you've got 3 all returned for touchdowns this year.
Yeah, we have 3 block punts returned for touchdowns, and Jake Simonchek has twice as many punt returns as anybody else in the league, and has almost double the average of anybody else in the WIC. It's been such a great team for us, in what we've been able to do. But it's just we got good players on it that play really hard. I mean, really, that's what it is. I mean, one of the block punts for a touchdown. I mean, Eli McGeehan he's the only guy really running in to block the kick, and he does. And then some of them are designed, and we do a good job kind of setting that up. But the guys believe in it. The guys play really hard. We practice it a lot, and so we got a big challenge this week actually with the Schomer kid from there, who's leading the league in punt average. He sprays it all over the place, and that's why he's leading the league in punt average. It's not that he booms the ball. the ball bounces. He's very erratic with where the placement of the ball is at, and so that's what makes it hard. And especially for us who's trying to catch every ball, we'll see what we can do tomorrow when we get that chance.
You won the last. Last week defeated the Falcons last year. Won 22 the last 25. Won 56-7 up there. The Falcons come off a 42-24 home victory over Eau Claire last Saturday. Let's talk about the Falcons.
Yeah, they looked really good last week against Eau Claire. Really, really good. They got two spectacular wideouts on the perimeter, and we understand we got to keep them. We got to keep them contained. Really good wide receiving crew. The quarterback's got a huge arm. Gets around, runs all over the place, chucks it everywhere. Really, really impressed with them on offense. Really, really impressed with them on offense. And so we know we got a big task in front of us, and we understand that. They've been incredibly explosive on offense, and so we got to find a way to keep them in front of us. We got to find a way to tackle in space. We know they're gonna put us in space and make us tackle in space. They're gonna get Beckman on the perimeter and try to chuck it downfield. They're gonna throw it up to Herink, obviously, and throw it up to Monson. We know that, and they do too. They know that we know that. And our guys are going to have to make some plays on that side of the ball. And then, on the other side of the ball, they play a lot of really a funky style of defense, really, I think you would say, and a lot of press man on the outside. And so your quarterback's got to be good, and you got to make the most of the opportunities that you get. So, this is going to be a close game and going to be a good game. They're going to present a big challenge. We know they want this one bad, and so do we. We want this one really bad, and we understand what's at stake and what's going on, but that's a good team that played really, really well last week. So big task for us going into tomorrow. And you can see that. 3-5 can go to 4-5, and 5-3 can go to 5-4, and now you're pretty close with what you're talking about standings. So there's no big difference in these teams.
Last question here. You talked about the ways you've won this year. What have you, just from your team, what have you learned with 2 games left about your team? We've talked about it. They're a young team, but what have you learned this year?
Yeah. I feel like the harder we are on them, and I don't know that's not the right terminology of it, the more loose we are with them, the more we let them be themselves, the more we let them play and act the way that they want to act, the better they play, and just continuing to instill that belief. A young team, and when things go bad, it can go bad. And so it's continually reminding them, hey, things are bad. Who cares? Do you believe that you're going to come back? Or do you believe that we're going to hang on? Or do you believe that we're going to score on this drive? And just getting them to play loose and not worry about any sort of failure has been a challenge, I think, with this group. But at the same time, it's kind of who we are and our identity. And so the more games that we've played in these, we're going to have major, what we think and what we hope, we continue to recruit the right kind of kids and build this thing. Boy, we'll reap these benefits down the road of guys who have been in these tight games and say, hey, trust in coach, trust in your coaches, trust in the guys, and believe you're going to win. And now we've just changed that, whereas before we got here, it was like, oh no, how can we lose this game? Now it's let's see how we're going to win it this time. That's just kind of how it feels right now. And I think that's just what a wonderful thing, because like I said, I've been on teams where it's been the other way, and you lose a lot of close games, and you feel so snake bitten in those seasons. This group just continues to persevere, and it's just been a lot of fun watching. We're playing like 12 or 14 freshmen and sophomores right now. It's crazy, and they're just watch those guys go and play. They make a ton of mistakes, but yet at the end of it, it's like you still rely on your older guys to come out and pull out a win for us.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck tomorrow.